We are clearly on track to return to the world of New Phyrexia in Magic the Gathering, as the Phyrexian plotline continues to intensify with the story of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. But, is there another major event involving the Phyrexians right on the horizon that's hidden in plain sight? Will we face off with the likes of Elesh Norn and Jin-Gitaxias again before we return to New Phyrexia? The answer may lie in the next Planeswalker they look to complete. Hey everyone, I'm Simon here for the Aether Hub, bringing you some more Magic the Gathering speculation. This video comes off the heels of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, where we were reintroduced to the Phyrexian Praetor Jin-Gitaxias and his planeswalking cyborg minion Teferi, as their true aims are revealed. The game's first fully Phyrexianized planeswalker. RIP Tamiyo. With that foreshadowing line, "You will not be the last" from Jin-Gitaxias himself, we know that Tamiyo is simply a prototype, the beta test for what will be an extensive line of Phyrexian planeswalkers to come. With this knowledge, we can formulate some speculations, as I think I can tie this with the upcoming MTG set, The Brothers' War. The Brothers' War is a new set that was announced alongside other 2022 future releases. It follows Kamigawa, New Kepina, and Dominaria United, clearly being set up as a pinnacle set of some importance. If you take the information they gave us at face value, many believe that this set will be a look back, a glimpse at the historical event that the set is named after, the Brothers' War, being a huge story plot on the plane of Dominaria back in the earliest days of the game's lore. The Brothers' War was a story that placed the planeswalker Urza, a stout opponent of the Phyrexians, against his brother Mishra, who became Phyrexianized and led the interplanar threat right to Dominaria's doorstep. Though it pained Urza, ultimately he had to choose utter oblivion over losing another plane to the Phyrexian Scourge, activating a device of unbelievable power whose force literally obliterated Mishra, the Phyrexian army, as well as himself. The blast was so catastrophic that it shifted the plane's climate and ushered in the Ice Age that became its own saga in MTG history. And it is this event that many players believe we will revisit through the eyes of history in this new Brothers' War set. A look back, a retrospective, but I believe this could mean something else. Perhaps this could be the focal point of the entire Phyrexian plotline we're seeing today, that maybe the Praetors aren't just trying to revisit history, but change it. This theory for me really grew in prominence with the completion of Tamiyo. Even though other planeswalkers like Karn were almost Phyrexianized in the past, the total completion of a planeswalker was only first achieved in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Now that we know it's a thing, and it's a thing the Phyrexians are looking to do more of, we have to then think of what planeswalkers we may potentially lose to the Phyrexians in the future. With Tamiyo already lost, who's next? This is where the theory gets a little heavy. For me, thinking about how pushed as a character in the story a planeswalker like Teferi has been recently, I begin to ponder, what if Teferi shares Tamiyo's fate? Not only that, what if Teferi was the main goal of the Praetors? The completion of Tamiyo was only an experiment to prove that it could be done, but the Time Mage is their true aim. And that moniker, the Time Mage, may be the key to everything. With Teferi under their control, time itself is in Phyrexian hands. I believe their mission, once Teferi is completed, is to go back in time and change history. Specifically, they want to travel back to Dominaria during the Brothers' War and influence the outcome of that historical event. Perhaps if they stop Urza from activating his contingency plan, maybe kill him before he forces back Mishra, Phyrexia will go on to plague Dominaria, and old Phyrexia would never fail. Even decades after the death of their ultimate leader, their god, Yawgmoth, the Praetors are still subtly influenced by his will. Yawgmoth wanted nothing more than to conquer Dominaria. It was his purpose alongside completing the whole of the multiverse. So I would argue that his offspring, no matter how far removed, feel this same drive towards Dominaria. Now they can travel the multiverse through Tezzereth's planar bridge and have minions in the form of Phyrexian planeswalkers, but still their forces aren't enough to conquer Dominaria outright. Even with Urza gone, new forces have risen to challenge the rise of New Phyrexia, and the whole of the plane would be utterly against them. Perhaps their greatest chance of success, calculated by Jin-Gitaxias, is to avoid an all-out invasion with the strength they currently have, and go with a more subtle approach, changing the course of history so that Phyrexia had always been the victors of the Brothers' War. In that, the present day will show a Phyrexia never pushed back, never left on the brink of extinction. Perhaps winning the Brothers' War would be the catalyst that leads Phyrexia to completing the entire multiverse. Either way, traveling to the past and winning the Brothers' War would be the easiest way for the Phyrexians to conquer Dominaria. Now, Teferi the Time Mage is key to this speculated plot, his manipulation of time being paramount if the Phyrexians look to travel backwards and change history. Teferi has shown he has at least some ability to control time. We saw this specifically in our return to Innistrad in Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, as he extended the day momentarily. And then of course you have all those bounce and trap spells associated with him, showing that he clearly does in fact have some control over time. But with that said, we haven't seen him do anything truly significant like travel backwards in time since the Mending, which nerfed the powers of all pre-Mending Planeswalkers. Teferi, essentially being ageless because of his magic, prior to the Mending managed to phase an entire continent out of the current timeline. Theoretically, with that kind of power, he could travel backwards in time. But let's say the Phyrexians complete Teferi. The Mending is still in effect. How could they travel back to the Brothers' War? Well, we have two possibilities. First, with Vorinclex's adventure on Kaldheim, the Phyrexians got their hands on a substance that literally made the planes gods. This Cosmos Elixir seemed to be the primary goal of the Phyrexians on Kaldheim, and its power and purpose are still very much unknown. What we do know is that it's capable of turning mortals into the immortal pantheon that we see on Kaldheim. Maybe in drinking this elixir, a Planeswalker could temporarily regain a fraction of their pre-Mending strength, giving the Phyrexians the small window they need to send stealth and sleeper agents back in time to influence the Brothers' War. We could get a small glimpse of Teferi's power before it was lost by the Mending, now being wielded by the Phyrexians. The second possibility involves Tamiyo. A deep part of this character's development revolves around these mysterious tomes bound in iron that contain spells so powerful that she's sworn an oath to never unleash them. However, that oath has been flexible in the past, namely when she was possessed by the Eldrazi Titan Emrakul. Now Tamiyo is possessed again by the Phyrexians, and wouldn't hesitate to use these spells when called upon. What if one of these spells could undo the Mending, disrupt the Blind Eternities in such a way that Planeswalkers again became gods? Or maybe it's just another temporary effect for a single target, again used on Teferi, giving the Phyrexians that brief chance to jump back in time. Either way, if one of these tomes can up the power of a Planeswalker, the Phyrexians wouldn't hesitate to use it on their new pawn, Teferi, so that they could change the outcome of the Brothers' War. The way the timeline works out for me is that Teferi and the Planeswalkers of the Gatewatch will uncover the Phyrexian plot to conquer Dominaria sometime during the Streets of New Kepina expansion. They won't know all the details, but they learn that Phyrexia has its sights on Dominaria. They all group up in Dominaria United, but are ultimately outsmarted by the Praetors and their minions, leading to Teferi's completion and the events that drive us to MTG's past, with the Brothers' War being altered by Phyrexian agents. That's what I truly believe and hope for. This of course is all speculation at this point, but if I were trying to write a compelling revisit to the Brothers' War event, leading to a massive conflict with the Phyrexians, this is the way I would do it. The loss of Teferi, a beloved character in the story, and a real consequence-packed trip to the Brothers' War sounds way more interesting to me than simply revisiting the event as it happened in a history lesson set. Don't get me wrong, it's still cool to see these massive events of the story's past displayed in a modern day set with new art and more story clarifications. But come on, Phyrexian time travelers hoping to win the Brothers' War? How much cooler could a storyline get? Alright guys, there's my speculation on what the Phyrexians could be up to with the upcoming set, the Brothers' War. What do you think? Could a completed Teferi be in our future, leading to major time implications? Or is it simply a look at MTG's storied past? Let me know in the comments below. I'm also working on a list of potential Planeswalkers who could be completed over the next few sets, so you can let me know your picks for most likely to be Phyrexianized in the comments as well, and I may just include them in my video. Anyway, I wanted to thank you all so much for joining me for this speculation video. If you enjoyed it, please consider supporting the Aether Hub by leaving us a like, subscribing, and of course sharing us on social media. It all goes a long way in helping us grow this community. As always, thanks so much for watching, and until next time guys, see ya!